Hello, everyone. I just want to mention something specifically. Um, I'm currently watching something of Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan podcast, which is very valuable. And he's together currently with Tucker Carlson, an American politician, not politician, but politic, um, presenter, basically, like a journalist. That's the word, journalist. And I'm hearing him speak about ideas regarding spirituality, or not even that. It's kind of started off very practically with that concept of we're finding evidence of UFOs, we're finding of flying objects in the water and in the air that can travel by 500 um, miles per hour. So like massively quick. That is like outside of the capabilities of our current technologically um, advanced species, like what we can do technology wise, as far as we know it. And he kind of leaned into the concept of, yeah, it kind of seems like it's on spiritual nature. Like there's something beyond what we know as human, like, or science. Let me say it differently, what we understand of science. And as that I am um, my source, my background is actually very practically like electrical engineer. Like only proof, can you do this? Then it only exists, and other than that, nothing really exists. All of the other stuff is spiritual mumbo jumbo. And the layer what I understand that I also want to give with you with this concept, we're trying to find, or there are people that are focusing on the truth, as in there's one truth and we're all like struggling to find that truth. And what I noticed, like one of the impacts, one of the steps that I've integrated is listen for insights instead of listen for agreements. Because while I am listening for this storyline of Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson, I'm listening for insights of their belief system. What do they currently believe? Um, is there something that I've missed? Like, what kind of knowledge do they have without me condemning their storyline? It is really like, okay, like, let stuff in based on, like, how deep does his belief system go? And what I noticed is quite often, and I've experienced that myself, I've been quite a conservative thinker, conservative thinker in the political realm. And that also includes that I started following this guy comparison to the other guy. And now that I'm more tuning into, okay, but what do I actually believe? Like the other guy kind of starts to make sense with some aspects. But I noticed that there's a difference in depth of belief system, like the importance behind this, and the duality aspect, as in uh, controversial or liberal thinking, or that stream, or that capitalism, or that socialism, or that duality part. In an idea, you're kind of stepping out of that concept if you're um, growing in a specific way, if that makes sense. And right now, I'm listening to him, and I think they're great. Like, great human beings that are very openly discussing their own thoughts and sharing that to the outside world. It is amazing that they do that. Well, I wanted to say but. It's not really a but. But I really wish that more people would do this, to be live, to explore their own thoughts, even though it doesn't make sense at the beginning. And well, let me say it differently. Let me tune into what I currently believe. I believe that we're not arguing about facts, but we're arguing around belief systems. If there is a challenge, for example, for the border, that's in America, is that a big deal? You could say, well, I don't want that. I want to have to take care of our people first, and then perhaps like work with human aid and help other people. That is a specific like practical thing that is underlaying a certain belief system of like first the individual and then a layer outside of that and then a layer outside of that layer outside of that. And you could be in that state, especially if you believe that most people are bad and they need culture to make them good. That I think that's the underlying belief system that's like defining the left or the right wing currently in America. So if you are in the belief system that the culture is needed first before you can like organize people in a proper decent way, then it kind of makes sense that you want to start slow and then like slowly build your culture, your rules, your control over those layers. Kind of makes sense. But on the other hand, if you believe that all humanity is good and they do negative behavior based on the traumas that they've collected, then you could say like, yeah, let everyone come in and let's work through those traumas, and then we can develop as humanity, because every life is worth as much, well, like a limitless amount, like every human life is worth the same. And both of them have their preferences and downsides. Well, it's not really preferences and downsides, but yeah, it's somewhere in that layer of the belief system. And I noticed for myself at the moment as well, as in I had my idea of like only me, and for the rest of it, no one else. Like I'm taking care of me and just the people around me, and that's it. And more that I started to grow as an individual, the more and more that I found that connectedness, that taking care of each other, like going to a specific event where you're relatively vulnerable and intimate about sharing your personal space and also emotions and stuff like that. And it is based on like working through some traumas that I've done myself without being stuck in spiritual madness. And like spiritual madness is a big one currently, at least in my systems that I'm seeing in my people that I have around me. And that is something that is, I don't want to call it dangerous, but because it's not real dangerous, but you kind of need to pay attention to that layer. And so yeah, like quite often what happens in these communities is that they like band together, be a part of their group, and then they're teaching each other stuff. And in a certain point, the people who are very skilled, then they feel like, okay, but like, and now what? You kind of need to grow outside of those containers. And you can teach the people, but then like a financial gain would make sense. And that layer is very important to am I making sense? I feel like that I'm not making sense. So I'll like retune this. What I do, like I re-listen to my live blabbles, and partially it is the like I'm listening back to to myself, and I'm choosing. Okay, does this make sense? Is it logical, Tim? Because whatever I'm saying right now is just free flowing, just me explaining myself in the state that I'm in. Yeah. Let me end it with this one. Thank you very much. See you next time.